some reason. Yay, we're on, we're live. Hi, Mies Gleason. And oh boy, there's going to be a lot of people giving energy, their spiritual energy, to completely the wrong thing. It's always good cop, bad cop tactics with everything. Every facet of our lives. A blackbird is white. Yeah, that's quite good. That ties in at 21 is another reference to it. Make two into one. This is this transgender thing. Oh, here we go. Connection unstable. Yeah, so basically everything that you come across, they switch over. So what was intended to be the spiritual, the joining of what is known as the two hemispheres of the right brain and the left brain, bringing them back together, turned into the physical, trying to make something that is neither man nor woman. Likewise, they tell you the side of it. See, this is the thing. It is a deceiver. That's why in the Old Testament you'll find it hides pretending to be, or what it is trying to tell you. It's always a series of opposites, and we're coming round to that stupid season where they're going to get you to spend, because they want to make you into consumers. The opposite of sumer, the opposite of summer. It's the long and short shadows of the sunrise and sunset. And then you've got your other two lines, which are equal distance. It's based on the symbol of Earth, which is also the symbol of us as well. You want to see the point of everything? There's your four angles. Right in the middle. Everything is a back projection. A lot of people have said they don't feel like this is real. They don't feel like what you're in is today. Or to give it its correct term, you're in 2 days. When you're asleep and you dream, you will probably feel things seem very real. And you can wake up with your heart beating, you can wake up in a sweat, and it feels very real. That's the subconscious reality. This is the conscious reality, but it is still a hologram. So that is why we are in 2 days, and it is like the film The Cube, because they want to box you in. So yesterday is the jester's day. This is why, God, you're all star vessels in this three-dimensional reality. Things matter because we are matter in this 3-dimension. Highlight moon. Yes, the waking dream. That's basically what it is. Like when you hear that expression, we need to get people to wake up. Well, you're in 2 days. You're in 2 dreams, and but it's always a twist on the truth when they talk about the only way to God is through Jesus. Well, it's not Jesus, it's the Son. It's going into the light. Some of this is metaphorical. Now, the Christmas tree is a brilliant example, because if you see that for what it really means, it's not about spending money and consuming and becoming a consumer. That is no system. That is the tree is within you. Now, what happens is your 7 energy chakras, it comes through the cerebrum, your Sarah Abraham, your heavens, your cerebellum, and then you have this is where the ascension comes from, where you need to send the energy back up, which is your spine, your spiritual Jacob's ladder. So you send the energy back up, your crown, your coronet. This is where all this deception is coming from, where everything is a twist. This is why you have a Christ mass. It's a mass. It's a black magic ceremony. That's why you have altars and priests, and they do like to altar boys, as we know. We got the nonce of York, because they love to. You're dealing with something with such a sick mindset. They will ridicule each other and put it out as a story, because they can use it to distract you away from other things. This is what it's always been about. Alchemy. That is exactly what it is. You'll notice you have two things as well. Hi, Judith. Hi, Angela. You've got you're logging and you're asking why, because when you are asking, it's a quest that your third eye is on, and you are as king when you are asking. That is what it is telling you right there. But yeah, they can't actually extend this bad cop as well. So you've got your evil, or your what looks to be the evil, which actually is, and then you've got your Christ mass, just to follow it up. Now, also think about the time of year that it is starting. There's least light, and Capricorn is your kneecaps. I got Santos Bonacci, Mr. Astrotheology, to thank for a lot of this, and then it's putting it together with the words and things. It just sort of unlocks doors. If you listen to the sounds of all these things, this is why you have these incumbents, because their income is bent, because they're telling you a lie. You have cardinals to send you off in the wrong direction. You have ministers, which are mini steers, to steer your vessel in the right. Because in this 2 days, you are a presence in the present, and we need to present ourselves as a present in this presence, as I've said before. There is an videos coming out. You'll notice also which they can use as a pretext, because most people are going to say, oh yeah, we want to protect children. Well, surely YouTube, it's in private hands. Surely they should already have this sort of thing in place anyway, so don't be fooled by that, but don't get caught with it either. If you do make videos, make sure you put it is not suitable for children, because they're threatening massive, nice way of taking your home away as well, and taking your livelihood away, and adding to the homeless. So you've got to watch for all this nonsense. More narrative on this, because it is a very good I mean, you look what the founding fathers, they didn't act within the law. They basically turned round to England and said corporation, and they have a pre-side dent on any corporation. You look at the word corporation, it's got corpse, right? It's today. Got this bill from Virgin Media, not made to me, but I said, don't worry, I'll deal with this. This is stationary, therefore it is at the top, because it's their property. It's not yours, it's theirs. So you send it back. Intent, I do not have international treaty with you, and hopefully that'll be the end of it. But if it isn't, we will cross the next bridge as and when we come to it. Yeah, was it Ooper Cooper thing, child, whatever it's called. It's just a way of getting in, a backdoor route of getting legislation in, which, I mean, they won't deal with the things. I mean, they won't stop the Walt Disney stuff. They won't stop any of the other 6 stuff that is on YouTube. They just don't want the truth coming out with anything. Give you another example of this, Martin Leaker with his get them into public libraries, or maybe even put some in charity bookshops and get the word out one way or another. But he got hit by Russians, and then it moved over to China, and then the publishers of the book had their hard drive of their computer scrambled as well, which has now been sorted. So they really don't want that information to come out. But I will say, watch, was it J.M. Lee, A Plain Truth for You? very good channel. Quantum of Conscience, another very good channel worth watching. And the Unscrambled channel, you'll see some brilliant just CGI, and it is just series of lies. I mean, if you're holding mobile phones up, and you should be seeing that in the screens on those phones, but you're not. You look in the background with a lot of these so-called politicians, because they're only actors. The people in the background are looking at, I don't know what they're looking at, wherever they're with the moon landings, the same, add a different background, come down and land perfectly like that, which is where they've just played the film footage in reverse. That's to try and tell you that the rockets have, I mean, look at the aerodynamics of it. It reminds the car with pneumatic tyres. It's got air pressure around it. You take that air pressure away, what do you think is going to happen to those inflated tyres? They're just going to explode. It is so laughable, rubbish that they try and put out on us. And this make-believe world that we live in, all this fakery. I mean, it's media. We've had media evil at the Dark Ages. We're back in them. I've noticed in 1813 went over to pre-printed pages for the baptisms and the burials. During the 1830s, there was a series of tithe maps that were created, normally by people with army ranks, mapping out fields in highly detailed maps since 1841 census in the UK, 25 on a particular day. You can look this up on a lot of genealogy, the exact date. But what does that say to me? That says stock taking after a reset. Need to have a count up of how many people have we got. Very interesting sync thought. I was going to put a video together on the Very Good channel. Has covered that in far better detail and a far better logic on that one. There's no Panama Canal. So how is who will attack anything that's, well, you can't blame them for having their land stolen from them anyway. But you look at all the old westerns, and what do you see? You see all these navvies putting these railway tracks down. Now, where's the United States Army to guard them? And don't forget, this railroad was being built at the same time that this civil war was. They don't look like they've been at war. What you will see when you look at all these old photos, now bear in mind what you see in every major city, London, Trafalgar Square. What's the one thing that is always associated with that, apart from Nelson's column, is of course pigeons. But you try and find a photo with one pigeon or one bird, and never mind trying to find, you'll find a few people that are penciled in, and then you've got these massive buildings, massive doorways. But then when you look at all the old drawings and things and the old lithographs from the books that have slipped through the net, you'll find there's people of all different sizes. Those doorways are that size for people who were that size. It's as simple as that. It's Occam's razor with all this stuff. We had much larger trees. You got to look around, even on Google Earth. There's very few trees that are over 250, 300 years old. They're like blades of grass compared to what we used to have here. People bigger, trees were bigger, oxygen was greater, and grows more. We are being shrinking slowly over the years. Not anymore. I think the terminology. Everybody talks about the 144,000, the chosen, the fallen. What's an Israelite? That is real light. It's when you find it inside yourself. A chosen one is one that has chosen to go down this spiritual path and not lose the inner child and remain open. A fallen angel is because you have been fooled by an angle, because your father is a deceiver, hides behind a burning, and when he doesn't get his own way and And then there's that's I think it's a song. It's on before. It's I mean, why would you have a symbol of a man nailed to a cross, not a man nailed to a cross? They're putting it right out there in plain sight. It's embodied in a black mass. It is telling you right there. It will come out that these so-called churches and cathedrals are actually healing and energy centers using the old technology Tataria, which they have squirreled away. And this is why you get these tall buildings like the 9/11 Twin Towers. They are just harnessing the magnetic energy that we should freely have. There is a wealth of channels. I'm going to put links. So I'll go back through the history of the things I watched yesterday. 3 incredibly good presentations that will explain things better than I can, and in more detail, and far better presentations than I can do. I'm not jealous. No, I'm not actually. What I will say is it's sort of come to my attention. I've heard this. I'm not going to name names because it's not fair. It will become apparent when you look at dates of videos and things. By all means, if something makes sense to you and you create your own videos, then share the information, but do please give credit to the people that have come up with it. Don't try and make out that it's your own ideas, because that's not fair. That's not honest. That's not playing fair and not being open and honest when people start doing that. But that's the best way, isn't it? We'll catch out the wrong ones because they will reveal themselves by their actions. They might want, if any of them happen to see this, I hope they reflect on that. Just a play on words there. Oh, is this connection going to hold? I hope. Corey, what's actually saying? I saw mention of Niven. Is he here? I hope so. Vanilla Sky was one. I think that's I forget which channel it is. I can't take credit for it, but it is. It's just a plain, almost like continuous cloud cover, like we've got now. The fear of it, because that is what is it. Matt on Quantum of Conscience has been honest in that, has a mindset that is not human, and he's spot on about this. We are dealing with something that is not human. We are dealing with parasites. When you start looking at the names, country names, for example, you can actually plot their course. It is said that they came in through malicious riches, more righteous, which they claim to be. And of course, like any narcissist, any parasite, it behaves in the same way. They would have gone towards Egypt because a lot of things seem to center around ancient Egypt. And then this cancer, this parasite, has gone straight to the heart of things, which was Ireland. It was Era, where Aryan, the Tartarians came from. That, if you look at the official narrative of the history of Ireland, it was a center of learning. So that was probably the official narrative of Ireland. Changes from this place that was a center of knowledge and a center of learning, where if you're wealthy, you sent your children to be educated, to becoming this place that suffered a potato famine on top of enslavement by the British Empire, and sold as slaves all around the world, decimating the population down from, we're told, from 2 million to 500,000. So it then begs the question as to where did all these Irish navvies suddenly spring from that were building these railways all around the world simultaneously, and all the canals, don't forget. No, they were just digging them back out of the mud. The structures and things were already there. Because we're dealing with They're taking credit for somebody else's work that they have destroyed and they've usurped and replaced. You've got words like tree usury, the treasury in every government. It's so, once you start seeing this and start breaking these words down, government, well, the ment comes from the Latin. Somebody pointed this out. Ment means mind. So they're governing your mind. And this is what they're doing with this fake media. So look at the Unscrambled channel. Very good, slow down footage and analysis. And this ridiculous Elon Musk and this car busted wide open yet again. The phone screens again is supposedly going on stage. You'll see the two Elon Musk, and this other guy seem to blur between each other. What are they, holograms or something? Or have they found a way of solid matter to partially? So ridiculous. Probably don't spot it, except thanks to the tireless work of channels like the Unscrambled channel for analyze with things, and you start to then have to question everything, and you really do have to question everything. Pick up a newspaper, you'll find that you have columns because they are tall stories that they are telling you. And in a lot of books, that's why they're in columns, because they are tall stories. They are written is now. The room they've been in is the past. The past changes. They can't go back. That room has changed. And they're going through a gruesome series of... Look at the word church, the door, and feed off their energy. See, Capricorn is your need. Or would you rather arise in Aries and start at the real beginning of the year, which I would also suggest is 3 months of 28 days. This calendar is, again, time, it's chronology, it's Saturn. And what has Saturn got? Rings around it, because he's running rings around all of us with this illusion. The opposite is the Jupiter, the bringer of jollity. But you've got to be careful, because one will appear to be the other. Master of Deception does not get that name for no reason. As I've said before, look at every Dracula film. He's referred to as the Prince of Darkness. When the servants of the Prince of Darkness no longer from, he doesn't come save them. All these politics, these politicians, all these so-called scientists, Brian Cox, who is living up to his surname. Hi, CJ Wall. They're all actors and actresses just playing parts, but we can flip that over. We're all stars. We have a part to play. Doesn't have to be a big part. You decide whether you want it to be a big part. If you want to be an is real light, then find it within yourself, because that's what you will be. The 144,000. It is the number of petals of the chakras. Comes to 144. When it gets to the crown, it radiates out times 1,000. That's where you get 144,000 from. It's 12 times know thyself, because thine is the kingdom, TH. You'll find it on another word, a very powerful word. It's called death. But if you put it, DEA, it's interchangeable vowels. It's like Etty. But instead of having TY, it's TH. Death is just a doorway back to source. It's the ultimate fear to lose, because once you've lost that one, there is nothing they can actually throw at you. Yeah, a death might seem painful and might seem real in this reality. Hi, Deep Chilled, movement arrow out of the way. Deep Chilled music. Yes, Spirits in the Material World by The Police. Very, very well worth listening to. That is remote writing. Because Leaker on his live premiere earlier today. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of the song now. Days Go By, I think it's called. And you wake up and you find, oh, house, is this my beautiful wife? And let the waters hold me down. That's drowning in the sea of lies. See, you can walk on water when you understand what that means. It doesn't mean physically walk over maritime law, because that is the waters that they are trying to drown in. They trick you with these legal fictions in courts. I would like to see a situation where every motorist says, we're not waiting for these stupid lights anymore. Roundabout system, obviously in other countries, it would have to be give way to the left. But in the UK, it would be like give way to the right, just the same as when the traffic lights don't work. I mean, what can they do if millions of motorists all actually drove with the seeing from the heart, not the aggressive ego type driving you get on the roads of today, but if they actually drove with the true spirit of themselves, they're not hurt or harm anybody else, and they were courteous to each other, we would have far less hold-ups. Because I've noticed in the UK, that is another thing to frustrate everybody, to give you that negative vibe where hold traffic indefinitely at these traffic lights and no other traffic flow moves. There's no pedestrians waiting to cross, and it lets about vehicles through, and then it goes back to red. They stack all this traffic up, and they cause more delays this way, and people are getting stressed out because they're in this debt slave system anyway. So they're now having to put the foot down to get to work because they're late, because they don't seem to be able to afford to live near where they work. So they're doing these ridiculous commuting journeys of it. Because actually, I put this up on Facebook earlier. If someone said to me, what do you do for a living? What do I do for a living? Living, basically. I don't deal with the dead, so I don't deal with stationery. I don't want anything to do with it. It's all a big con. It's like, I know what they want. They just want to get money out of me. Well, tough. Haven't got any, not having. The little bit I have got is just for emergencies. But there is 3 is a very important number, because you are past, present, and future. You've got your third eye, you've got your third ear. You're a series of 3s. You're a series of 12s. Don't forget, for every negative aspect to everything, there's always an opposite and equal based. So out of this world, going to go live earlier. I tried the other day with no success, 20 minutes, and I thought, right, we'll have to do a pre-recorded one. Ended up with 2. No one called Oh Geez Sussed It. That will show you how these letters, now bear in mind they are letters in this alphabet, because you don't own them, they are let to you, and they are basically just glyphs. This upright line is with the letter L, another stalk on it. Now the 3 is your E, with your 1, 2, and 3. E is always for energy. F is the fake version. That's why it is F, because it is missing one of those 3 points. And that's why you have words like defy and sci. This will stay right. Maybe let the stuff dry out before I smoke it. But it's only a cigarette. Not. That's basically it. I mean, just use logic on anything to do with history. Look, they are always strapped for cash, how They're reliant on shareholders' demands. There's lots of railway companies and proposals that get taken over, and then another company will come in. But I said 55,000 on the Euston Archway, which looks suspiciously Tartarian, and it served no purpose apart from it's a series of collaborative of these railway companies who were renowned for land prices are cheaper. But when you get into the congested cities, look at put in St Pancras. Just look at the hotel at the front of the building. Ask yourself whether you could have with men with ropes and horses and wooden cars in compressed mud streets. Then think also about the United States. Not only have you got the communication problem, because I'm sure you've got people going across the United States, across hundreds of miles, erecting telegraph poles and putting wires up for a telegraph system, when there are these hostile tribes who are going to attack them. That doesn't ring true either. And the ridiculous time span, of course, that all these are said to take place. That's the hunter. Just think of Crystal Palace, for example. Oh, that connection's unstable again. So hopefully you can all still hear this and not cutting out. Because I can't tell when I'm actually doing these live ones. It won't let me do a sort of premiere where I can join in on the chat. The button, as it were, on the screen, it won't go across. Maybe it's because it's not a monetized channel. I don't know. But we'll persevere. We get the message out. As the momentum builds, more and more will come across. That reminds me of something else. Was it 2 days ago? Not yesterday, the day before. I didn't get up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Switched realities. Stores off. Now I can't verify how true it is. I was sent a video of a car with a mature tree that's grown through it. Now that's not miracle growth, worked out. Now I spoke to a few key people and they've all confirmed this, that there has been like a flip over. This is, you could say, is your pole shift. This is a polarity shift. It's gone from, shall we say, AC to DC, if you want to look at it in electrical terms. It's nothing to worry about, nothing whatsoever to worry about. As long as you stay without fear of anything and you radiate out that energy, you build up. I mean, you're a miniature of, you're a miniature world in yourself. Everybody is a universe up. So nothing can get through. The best they can throw at us is electrics. And they are tricks. It's not this way. You are all like two-legged star forts. You are all energy grids in your own way. I can't tell who, but I can feel the energies of some of you that are listening. It's the same and yet distinct is the only way I can describe that. Hi, Gary Rich. I've sort of waffled on for 40 minutes now. I'm going to have to say replay this, but basically, bear in mind, it's more difficult if you've got young children, but they will be ambushed and targeted, particularly with getting you to spend money to be a consumer, taking you away from summer, because it is a big con. That's not the true wealth. That's material. I nearly said believe then. I feel that it keeps coming up every now and again as unstable connection. So I'm hoping you can't take it with you, even if they try to. But it's designed for children. The bright colours, the brights, it's all to get you to spend money, of course, because they want you to be in debt over it. And there are a lot of people who will stress over this time of year, and they will create this negative energy. But when you think about it, the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous anyway, because to visit. Hi, Christine. Well, I don't know about a treat, but I'm just being me. I am what I am. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. And you can all find this because there is not a singular being. You can all be living Christ as long as you find it within yourself and you Testament, the Bible, in kicks over the tables in the temple where they're changing money. So the banks aren't going to like this revolutionary character that is saying this is an insult, this is all wrong. And then you look at the teachings as well. It's saying about not following and not having these churches, not worshipping false idols. Now, that false idols can come in all forms. They can wear white coats. They will. False prophets come in many shapes, sizes, and forms. The thing to do is not fit in the boxes. Think outside the box. Don't fill the forms in. If I was given a form to fill in and it said name, I would just put I am. And if they said, "What do you mean I am?" and I'd say, "What I mean, I am what I am," just as they are who they are. We're individual, and yet we're one as well. People will recognize that's how it works. A lot of these things that we're be literal as well. Just depends on the way it's played out. But you just look read between the lines and all these things like war. So going back to, is real light real? So you want to find your king's highway inside. Now, don't worry about king and queen being divided into masculine and feminine term. There shouldn't be any distinction from that point of view. It's a collective term, but we now live in this world where everybody is off-ended off their lives. Well, I'm holding out olive branch. I'm not going to do the work for you. We've all got to do our own work. I've still got to do. It's continuously every day questioning that eye is on because your light is on and you are nearly set fire to the hair. I don't want that going up. Not really. No way. I'd be a flaming, mind you, make a great viral, I suppose. But no, I don't do snuff movies. Sorry. Well, that's sort of really all I wanted to sort of say. Just guard away, because it's an enormous pressure if you're going through this awakening. Normally being like the black sheep in the family, and everybody thinks you're mad and we're the crazy ones. But look on what's below your feet a lot of the time. It's crazy paving. I was asked in a message, a nervous system, which is also like the tree ring, too far down these rabbit holes. You'll just keep going deeper and deeper, and your negative things. The thing to always see is look for the good cop, bad cop scenario with everything, because they play both sides. Hence, you've got Halloween followed by Christ Mass. But one pretends to be good. Your Pied Pipers coming in. Very good video, Martin Leake. Not the one today. The previous premiere about the evacuees during the Second World War, all these children being moved. Now, I know from what I've read, Brighton on the south coast had evacuated closer to France, which is under the control of the Germans. And then, of course, it means a second evacuation. Well, there's child trafficking under the guise of war. And something I didn't realise, Martin pointed out, Cardiff was the biggest coal port in the UK. And yet it didn't get bombed. That's strange, that. But then when you start and you realise that the RAF and the United States Air Force were using large, long bombers to get there. And the Luftwaffe did not have any large bombers or long-range bombers. What the one they did have, I think, ended up as a reconnaissance for the submarines called the Condor, because it was struggling. One propeller was notorious for catching fire. So they never had any long-range bombers. I guess that Coventry was bombed by the RAF. These under the control of these script writers to stir up hatred and keep things going, keep this war going, because it's always divide and conquer. You do not want a situation, wicked people in the First World War, how dare they make friends on Christmas of 1914 and friends with each other. Oh, so they came down hard on the French, German and expeditionary force in the First World War because they were making friends, and that could have stopped the war. But no, they want the war to continue. It makes money because governments obviously have to borrow money from these arms, and we all know who is in control of all those. There's another little interesting thing where they take, if you put BAYER and BAYER, BA for Baal and Ray with a Y between the symbol of the device. It's Israelis, it's Khazars, it's Sea People, it's Phoenicians, it's Romans, because they're like Medusa. They cannot look at themselves. They're like Dracula. They don't have a reflection because they can't stand the sight of parasites. I've mentioned this before. Independence Area 51, and he makes telepathic contact with this alien. The intent is shown right there, everything, and then move on. But they like to recycle things and keep us in this endless loop, because it is a loopy reality. Zombies between the two parts of the brain, that is where your missing link idea comes from. And you don't have two hemispheres, you actually have four, because you are the same as this symbol. You've got your left and right brain, you're in. The point of it is here, the crown, your crown chakra, where you radiate out, you anoint yourself in that Mr. Astrotheology. See, I'm not taking credit. It makes sense from the people I've listened to, and I just add my own bit in. And please do share this out, put it in your own words. I'm not bothered whether you want to say I said it or not, as it were, from Match C1234 Golf Channel, in response to I said we are the stars, because we are the fallen angels, because we have been falling for an angle. You see the way they change the letters round? Yeah, north, east, west, and south. That spells news. There's nothing new about it. It is old story cycled. Look what's happening in California. Look what's happening in Australia with fires. Other areas have got floods. They're already unrolling all these resets. And something else that was pointed out the other day, the number one enemy, the Russians against the Allies, the All Eyes. Well, where's all the nuclear weapons facing each other across the Bering Straits between public enemy number one, Russia, and the Right, it is a multi-level, multiplayer game. Now, do you want to be a source player on this game, or would you just want to have a bit part? That's up to you. You choose what you want to do. It's not like the Hollywood stars with the ego, I've got more followers than you, rubbish. You want, hopefully you didn't mean frozen as in the screen is frozen up. I hope not. We've gone for nearly an hour now. So I am going to end here. I'm going to put links. I'll go back through the history of the things I've watched with some videos that I highly recommend. It's as much looking back at the past, because the best analogy I can give, when you're a toddler, if you don't master walking through a doorway and you keep hitting your head or your shoulder, then you've not learned from that experience. But we've got until we break this cycle. It's not that difficult to do. We've just got to start saying no to things. Be the founding fathers and mothers. Create the reality in this conscious hologram that we want. If we remove that, and dreams can come true in the conscious. It's that simple. It's not rocket science, because then it would be NASA. And it's a Nazca lying. But yeah, that's just my take on it. Nobody has to agree or disagree. Oh, this jumble. The viewing figures. There was a video I watched today where showing it live, and it's gone from 5 down to 4. Well, how can you have 5 viewers that drops to 4? That's just on, I assume, it's quite a small channel on a video, but you get too big and then they pull the plug on your channel anyway. So the more of us that speak out, and subscribers, because you could be really missing out. Give everybody a chance. Resonates, go with it. If you're alerted to something on the side panel, or inside you says, oh, I'm telling you to go and listen to that particular channel, but there's going to be something worth listening to in it. Yeah, loopholes. Yeah, you don't want the cereal called Honey Nut potato ring things. Again, geared up towards children. So, oh, let's put one on each finger. I remember those days. Or was it Captain Scarlet? That was really good training, because I could see the actors called politicians, and you can see the strings. Because nothing makes sense. You can have an anti-Arctic treaty where you can get 58 nations agree, but put them in the Middle East and they're fighting because it makes money and it's a lovely way. Yeah, not quite accurate. Yeah, I've heard never a straight answer before. NA, SA rounded up and arrested the SA. So the NA, the bit that they wanted to keep, the scientific part, which was still controlled by the ZI, was merged